Good morning. What is up? Happy Monday. Jenny and Brad with us already. Brad says probably went to Dunkin' to get coffee and got caught in line. Well, I should have because there was a coffee problem. As I mentioned last week, um, I should have cleaned my coffee pot maker because it's super slow. I started brewing my coffee at like 6:40, so 20 minutes ago, and it's like not even I don't even think I could pour a cup. It's so slow. So I'm gonna have to get that coffee maker cleaned today because I don't want to wait so long for my coffee. So I haven't had any coffee yet. Gimmicky Fibers, good morning. Must have messed up his burrito or he's at Dunkin' getting coffee. Yeah, I should have went to Dunkin'. I should have went to Dunkin'. Might have went on a little earlier. That is an expense you can can deduct to get a new coffee maker. Hey, yeah, that is because it's part of the office. It's part of my office. I need that for my to power me through. So what's up? Hope you had a good weekend. Was not live yesterday. I went back to my hometown over the weekend, which was really needed. Okay. So the reason I went was for not a good reason. A family friend passed away. Her name was Robin. I've talked about, we worked together when I was in high school. We worked at the grocery store. Um, her and her husband lived just a few doors down. Great friends of my late father and my mom, and huge Cubs fans. We would go to we'd get like a family get together, friend get together, and go down to the Peoria Chiefs minor league games once a summer. Their house was pretty much I would stop at their place before I'd go to my parents' house as I was driving into town because they were right on the highway, and if the garage door was open, it's a summer afternoon, likely they're out in the garage watching the Cubs game. So I'd stop, have a beer with them. Um, I showed off. She was a huge Ryan Sandberg fan. When I was at the Kerry Wood fundraiser 3 or 4 years ago, it happened to fall on her birthday. And all of a sudden, I'm like, I need to have Rhino wish Robin a happy birthday, but it's so loud. It's a bar setting. He was a celebrity bartender. So I wrote "Happy Birthday, Robin" down on a napkin and asked him if he could hold that up and take a picture. He was very gracious with that. Did so. So I wished her a happy birthday from Rhino on her Facebook and had the picture printed. I kept the napkin for her. The one thing that I wish I'm kicking myself is I didn't have him sign it. It's like so that was the one thing. But so yeah, so they've that picture. So she passed away about a month ago. Saturday night was a celebration of life for her, and they had a bunch of pictures, and that Rhino picture was like front and center on the cork board. So that was really cool. So it was unfortunate, the circumstances, but it was great to see people I haven't seen in a long time at that event. And then we went to the local watering hole, and I ran into some old high school friends. I ran into like my babysitter from when I was like literally a baby that I probably haven't like we're friends on Facebook, but I don't know if I ever knew her because she babysat me in high school, and then went off to college and in life. And I don't know if I ever, I'm sure I ran into her because her parents lived on the same block. I'm sure I ran into her, but I don't remember it. So ran into her. One of my cousin's best friends growing up called him Butch. Haven't seen him in 25 years, so I was able to catch up with him. So it was much needed because um, I was kind of struggling with the transition. Okay, and I'm going to get to that in a second. I got to say hi to Diego. What's up? Dan is with us. Good morning, and David, happy Monday to you. So I was kind of I was on the struggle bus Friday because it really hit me that uh, this is how I've got to make money now. And of course I knew this, over the past year. I've kind of treated it as like, okay, can I do this as a business? And for some reason on Friday morning, it just kind of like hit me that um, I'm questioning everything. And even though I've got for the past year, I've ran the numbers, kept up, and even with the downhill slide of card sales over the past 4 months, 5 months, it was still doable. Ran the numbers, before I made this decision, leading up to the decision. But for some reason, all of a sudden, it became very real on Friday. Like Thursday was super excitement. It's kind of like Christmas. The days leading up to Christmas are like better than Christmas morning, because Christmas morning you've built up so much excitement for Christmas and all the presents, and then all of a sudden it's over. And that's kind of how I felt Friday. It's like I had all of this build up. There was the nervousness leading up to turning in my resignation, and then that was like a boulder off my shoulder. And then it was like this super excitement for 2 weeks. I'm just going into the office, like, hey, uh, you know, doing my thing, but in 2 weeks I'm done and I'm doing cards full time. And then all of a sudden, Friday morning, it's like, all right, this let's get to work. This is real. Um, it's gonna be difficult for me because I have the type of personality that I don't I have a difficulty of separating work from life sometimes. It was easy in in my previous job because um, we were bound to like, we couldn't really promote much, and that was one big hurdle for me that I struggled with, was that I want to promote and I want to build it up social media wise, and we really were handcuffed in many ways with that company, and for some reasons I understand, for some I don't. But so that was something that I struggled with. But when I worked in radio, there was really no separation of work and hobby, because uh work was my hobby. Now I'm turning hobby into work, and vice versa. So it's going to be interesting. I felt refreshed even Saturday as I was driving home to my hometown. I still had that nervousness, that anxiety, almost questioning myself, is this the right decision? I will say it was definitely the right decision to get out of the line of work I was in. That, no doubt about it. But it's like, I've always said I would never want to work for the Cubs because I love the Cubs so much, and I don't want to mix that. So now it's with cards. How am I gonna? How is this gonna? I've basically done it for the last couple of years. And really scaling it up on the sales. So we'll see. But I will say, uh, after Saturday, I felt really good. I felt much more confident. And even through Sunday and now this morning, I feel much more confident. And I think it was just that uh getting away, stepping away. It wasn't, because the last 2 weeks I was really, I've been really trying to, because I want to hit the ground running. So I was really pump, go to the office, come home, pump, the eBay store and the sales and all that. So I think maybe just a separation, just a little break, because most weekends I'm at card shows. So I think I'll need to find that escape. Um, so that's something that I'll have to work on. What's up, Zach? Good morning. Jenny says, I'm in the boat of work change too, and we just got to remember change is great. Absolutely. Change is good. Dude, you survived working in radio. You can do anything. Worst case, you have tons of options, but you'd always kick yourself if you didn't try. That's a great piece of wisdom, Zach, because um, I don't know if it was on the radio or a podcast I was listening to, but something very similar. I heard something very similar said, you just do it, and you don't know if you don't try. And I think the worst decision I could have made was sticking in a job that I didn't like, that I really disliked actually. And I think that would have been, that would have been worse, just mentally, um, and all that. So yeah. So here we go. So it was a lot of fun. My mom is decluttering, and she visited a couple weeks ago, and she goes, I have this big toy box. My dad was very crafty. My dad made this big wooden toy box when I was, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years old. And it's got the Beau, it says Beau in the wood letters, and it's got the hinge, which I almost smashed my finger because it was too close to the wall. It's like, ooh, this is not good. Um, so my mom's like 2 weeks ago, do you want that toy box? It's like, no, I don't. It's no, I don't need a need for a toy box. Try to find somebody else named Beau and give it to them. She goes, well, how about the stuff inside? And I'm like, well, I've been home so often over the last 20 years that there's probably nothing in there that I want, that I wouldn't have taken already within the last 2 decades. Um, I'll take a look just to see. Um, so I went through it, and there was actually, I guess I haven't gone through it at least in a while, because there was some stuff in there that I don't know if it had been opened in at least by me in more than 10 years. Because some of the stuff, it's like, oh hey, I can, even though it's my childhood toy, I'll throw it on eBay. I don't have kids. We don't plan on having kids. So it's not like I'm going to hand it down to any children. So uh, one of my favorites was the talking Alf doll. Remember Alf? So this is Alf. Um, and he's this is the talking, this was like the voice box. Um, I don't think it works. I threw it on eBay, sold as is, haven't been tested. But this is the old Alf. I was a big Alf fan in the 80s. So there was Alf. Now I'm gonna try to fix this guy. I'm pretty sure this guy's broke, as you can see. At least his nose and eyes are, because every time I move him around, his oh, Teddy! Oh, I broke his nose. Teddy Ruxpin. And in the back, you put a cassette in there. And I think somebody on Twitter said I put my Metallica cassette tape in there. Teddy Ruxpin, this was like, man, I loved this thing as like a 4-year old. Um, so Teddy's seen better days. Um, I don't think yeah, it just, if I lay him back, there's his nose. His eyes are, ooh, he's seen better days. So the Teddy Ruxpin came with a book in a cassette. So and I think he would read the book. I think Teddy actually, he talked, he read the book, and his mouth actually moved, I believe, when they worked. So you had the book cassette. So I don't think I have the books anymore, or the tapes. But that's Teddy Ruxpin. Dan says, card shows you go to now, will you have a different mindset? Dan, that's a great question. I'm going to get to in a moment. You may have something else that person might want if they told you. I've got one of those here. It belonged to my grandmother. What's up, Herman? And then just one other thing. There's a couple other things, but the GI Joe lunchbox. This is old plastic lunchbox from the 80s. GI Joe. I'm pretty sure I use this as baseball card storage. I'm pretty sure I carried this around with baseball cards as a youngin. So those were some of the things that I found. Basically all the cards that I had at home. There were some cards, but they're going in the garbage because they're junk commons, and pretty beat up. I've basically taken all card related things out of my parents' house. Now, did you open that gift the day before Christmas and then rewrap it? So those toys, and I probably at least Teddy Ruxpin and Elf. I'm pretty sure those were Christmas gifts. Um, that was before I would sneak to the Christmas tree at 4 a.m. or midnight. As I got older, it was when I was younger. I think see Teddy and Alf. I got those when I was probably 4, 5, 6 years old. But then as I got like 7, 8, that's when I woke up early and opened my presents at like 4 or 5 a.m. before my parents got up. And then as I got into like junior high, then it was I'm gonna wait out when my parents go to bed. And I'm gonna sneak out to the Christmas tree and open. So there's very few photos of little Beau opening Christmas presents on Christmas morning because little Beau was a little a-hole and opened his Christmas presents early without his parents. So probably up to like the age of 5 or 6, and then like the college years and maybe even high school. Um, so so yeah, I was a bad Christmas boy. Um, GI Joe, knowing is half the battle. Those toys are pre-criminal, Beau. That's right. So those were some toys I dug out of my toy box from childhood. Um, so Dan, I'm going to go back to your question. Dan asks a great question. He says, card shows you go to now, will you have a different mindset? Absolutely. Um, so as I made once I made this decision, it automatically changed my approach. And now it's more of a um, what I'm buying, I'm looking for I'm basically look if I'm buying, I'm looking for inventory. You know, it's still still the idea is to sell. But I'm also, just as important is buying inventory that I can flip. Like at the show in Rockford a couple of weeks ago, I was able to get some bargain boxes, get those price per cards down, and I'll be able to use those for inventory and some of the stuff. I'll be loading up my quarter box because one box I bought like penny a card, and there's a ton in there that will be popular 25-cent cards. So yeah, so my mindset has definitely changed because now, instead of spending $100 on a like a Billy Herman batters up that I wanted at the Rockford show, I'm gonna put that money basically reinvest into other inventory, even though I have plenty of inventory. Um, sometimes it gets stale, so you need to freshen it up, and not only for my eBay store, but for my quarter boxes, which are just as or possibly more important for sales because you don't want to get stale on the quarter boxes where repeat customers just start walking away because you haven't updated and they've already seen these cards. So that's my goal end of this week. The next Madison card show is Saturday. So that's the goal. Later in the week is to get a bunch of new 25-cent boxes made, so I can have some fresh October inventory. We're at 50 confirmed tables for Saturday show, which is a record, which I've said previously, I've never had 40 confirmed tables before Thursday, the week of the show, and we're only at Monday. Now I have reached out to, most, if not all, the regulars um, to confirm if they're in or not. So now it's just kind of the late additions, usually the kind of the late ads where it's like, hey, I can do the show after all, or hey, I'm new. Do you have any tables left? So right now the room is set up as designed for 50, but we can squeeze in comfortably like probably 5 more tables. So we're at 50 confirmed. So the room is technically full, but I can get some more in. And we also have the mezzanine, which I want to stay away from separating into different rooms. I want it in one room. But if I have demand for 60, 70 tables, at least I have the option where I don't have to start looking for another venue or turning people away. I can utilize the outside areas and just kind of get creative with that. So when I met with the hotel on Friday, they did say that's an option. Do you need to use the mezzanine area yet? And right now we don't, but that it's great that that is an option. ABB, always be buying, feed the beast. You will have to start living on a PC budget like me, Zach. That's another good point, because now it's like I'm not buying any Cubs right now. If a bulk deal came, if a Cubs bulk deal came by, I would buy. But for the most part, I am abstaining from Cubs purchases, just until I really get my feet wet, doing this and building up the eBay inventory. So, not saying that Saturday at the card show I used some of the profits to maybe buy that Billy Herman batters up. But at this point, yeah, the Cubs purchases are definitely on the back burner. You have to keep track of everything now that you are, yes, absolutely. And that is, and really, Dan, I had to do that before. Not to the extent of 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 now. Now it's like everything. Like before, it was just kind of like, okay, um, this, and this. Now it's much more in depth in tracking all of that stuff. And I was doing that for the most part. That was being tracked over the last couple years. Brad has some Cubs. Brad, I have some Pete Alonsos for you. Um, where what's let's see, da, 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 da. But this is personal collection. Will need to be on a budget because he is to feed the beast, to feed his body. um, so I will be looking to buy. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, oh, I want to buy a case of this or a case of that or this card to flip, and it's to the point where it's like, okay, I have enough inventory. What am I gonna skip out on? So Topps Heritage Miners next week is out, so I'm really excited for that release. It's one of the great things is now with buying a case, I don't have to work around like when I've bought cases over the last couple years. I haven't had a chance to like just open them. It's like buy a box, like with Pro Debut, it's like I I opened a box after work and then I had to do something. And then I opened two boxes, I opened half a box the next morning, and then I opened a box and a half after work, and then I opened three boxes, and it was all spread out, where now I can sit down and do it. They arrive and it's like, okay, this is break time. Break time to break. So looking forward to doing that, being able to set that time uh over to sort. So to sort, break, sort, and list. So looking forward to that. So that's all I had for today. Um, to the grind. I do have a off topic, but go Braves. I'm also rooting for the Braves. I'm rooting for the Braves and Red Sox. Um, but I haven't watched any of the games. Um, so today I set my routine. Well, for today, and this is going to vary, but so today came down to record, and then after I record, I am listing, and today's goal 500. I'm going to list 500 cards today, and that should take me up to around lunchtime. I should have that finished up by early afternoon. I'm thinking it'll take me 4 to 5 hours to get 500 cards listed and uploaded. So then I'll do lunch. And then after lunch, the afternoon set aside for shipping. And I have since I was out of town, I have some shipping built up. So Brad says you type way faster than I do. And then so that's today's goal, 500, and then getting some shipping done, heading to the post office. Tonight, by the way, 7 p.m. Central, I'll be on with Ken and Herman on 3B Collections channel. So we'll kind of be talking about this tonight, 7 p.m. Central. I'll be on with Herman and Ken. So tune in for that 3B Collection channel. Brad's going to be going live on his channel, Texas Card Dude. Have a great Monday, and we'll be back tomorrow morning.